All right, I'm giving away my entire Amazon FBA course for free. People have paid me upwards of $20,000 for access to this information. However, in 2025, I want to do something special for you guys. I'm going to be revealing everything I've learned about Amazon FBA and how I was able to become a 8-figure seller, the founder of Sadara Skincare, which exited for 7 figures as well, how Amazon completely changed my life, and all the information I have about this amazing business opportunity. I'm going to give it to you for free. Not asking for anything in exchange. This is going to be the best Amazon FBA related content on YouTube, period. So in this video, I'm going to be covering mindset. This is the most important topic because without the proper mindset, you are going to give up very, very easily on this journey. Anybody who tells you Amazon FBA is get rich quick scheme, it's completely lying to you. It takes hard work, but I can tell you one thing, it's going to be worth it. You're only one product away from financial freedom. And by the way, guys, this video is a collaboration between us and Helium 10. If you're interested in checking out Helium 10, click on the description below. And also, if you're interested in enrolling in the FBA Masterclass school community, click on the link below as well, where we have bi-weekly calls. You can talk as well as network with other sellers. So I'm super stoked for this series, guys. Enjoy this video. Hey guys, it's Tom back here again, and we are going to be talking about mindset in this chapter. Super excited about this particular topic, and it is one of the most important things. And what I've experienced over the past 5, 6, 7 years of being an entrepreneur, I'm sure I can speak for Adam, is that mindset is absolutely everything. And the reason why that is because on this journey of success, on this journey of Amazon FBA, you are developing as a person. You are literally becoming a better version of yourself. And during that growth, there are going to be some pain points. There are going to be some growing pains. You're not going to be used to the person that you're growing into. There's going to be times where you have to work really hard. There's going to be times that you have to, something happens to your business or you can't find a product or whatever it might be. And it's during those times that important mindset stuff really comes in handy. And in this video, we just want to talk about 10 key frameworks that has really worked well for us. And Adam, why don't you go ahead and take over the first one?
So the first one is to be impatient with action, but patient with results. So as Tom alluded to, there's a lot of hard yards in building a business, and you may not see those things emerge in success right away. You got to plant a lot of seeds. You got to work a lot. And it's not like you do an action one day and you're going to see the result immediately. Sometimes you'll do an action today that you're not going to see the benefit of for a year or 6 months or 2 months. And so we urge you to think about this in terms of you got to put in a lot of hard yards, you got to plant a lot of seeds, and you got to be comfortable with not seeing the output of that in terms of results. But I can tell you when you do that, when every single day, every single week, every single month, you're doing those things that matter in your business and you're being patient with the outcome, but impatient with doing the thing, there is going to be a moment in time where the hockey stick happens. And you look back and you're like, holy crap, it's happening and it's growing and it's going to be an amazing feeling. But when you're in the trenches and when you're digging and you're putting in the work, you may not see that. So impatient with action and patient with results.
Yeah, it's almost like going to the gym, right? You go to the gym one day, like, what are you going to see? You're not going to see anything. Yeah. But if you go to the gym every day, slowly, you're going to see something. Same as like, it's like a baby walking, right? It's like, do we ever say this baby sucks at walking? Like, no, that'll never happen, right? We know that the baby is going to grow into, a man or a woman and they're going to be able to walk. So having that faith, having that trust in the process, super important. So number 2 is just copy successful people. And you probably know this already or else you wouldn't have bought the course. But a story I can share from my personal experience is that once I got kicked out of my first college, second college, third college, and then I graduated from my 4th college, I had a huge chip on my shoulder because everybody thought I was like a loser, right? And I thought I was a loser at that point. Like, I don't blame them. But I wanted to get a job that paid $100,000 because I thought that sounded really cool, like 6 figures after the first year of college. Awesome. So I got a job at Yellow Pages, and there's a guy named Pavan. He was the #1 rep at Yellow Pages. And after he gave us his training, I literally went up to his desk and I said, Pavan, can I learn from you? And those words changed my life. He said, yes, sure. He was a little bit put on the spot. He's not going to say no, right? So, and at Yellow Pages, it's all inside sales jobs. So basically what that means is everything's on the phone. So all I did, I didn't want to bother him too much. All I did was I asked Pavan, like, can you send me all your call recordings? Because that's literally what he says. So I send me all the call recordings. After every sale he gets, I'm like, hey, can I get the call recording for that? He will send it to me. And I would literally copy everything he says. I will write everything down. I will practice in front of the mirror. I will put it on my phone and listen to on the way to work, on the way back to work. I became obsessed with the way he did things. And not only did I figure out that he says certain things, I also figured out that he works really hard. So every single day at Yellow Pages, we see the rep with the most amount of calls, who talks the most amount of time on the phone. And he was always the top 3. So I took his work ethic and I took what he says on the phone, right? So his knowledge, and I combined the two and I took action, and I finished number 2 in Western Canada. He finished number 1 in Western Canada. So it really goes to show you that we're not here to reinvent the wheel. You're not here to reinvent the wheel. Everything's been proven, but you need to follow the process. A lot of people will follow the knowledge part, but they won't follow the hard work part. You can't have hard work without knowledge and knowledge without hard work in order for you to get to success. So you have to have both. So I'm just trying to tell you that in this course, everything is proven already. Everything's been tested many times. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Literally watch video number 1, number 2, number 3. Don't skip any videos and just emulate from those people that have been done this many times before. So number 3 is focus. So there's a great example of this. So the thing that has the greatest energy in our universe is the sun, right? It powers the entire Earth, powers the entire solar system, the entire universe. Now, if we go outside and we didn't put sunscreen on or whatever, the worst thing that can happen to us is maybe a sunburn, right? But what happens if you actually get a magnifying glass and then divert all that energy to one thing? That energy source can now probably go through and penetrate anything on Earth. Doesn't matter if it's rock, metal, whatever it might be. So it really goes to show you how important focus is. Every single day, we wake up with 100% focus. If you're doing many things, let's think of a jug, right? A jug of water, it's full. That's your focus. But if you have one glass to pour into, all that water can fill up that glass. But if you have 5, 6, 7 different glasses, then that jug of water can only fill up maybe a quarter of each cup. And a quarter of each cup is basically one task that you're doing. So one of the cups could be your Amazon business. One of the cups could be your children. One of the cups could be, whatever else. So obviously I'm not saying like ignore your children or anything like that. But what I'm saying is your attention, your focus needs to be really, really diverged. And you need to be very strategic at what you focus your attention on. Because ultimately, everybody have 24 hours in a day. I see a lot of people saying, oh, I can't do this Amazon business even after I bought the course. I asked them why. They said, I don't have time. And one of the things that I'm a pretty straight shooter. I just called them out on their BS. I said, all right, give me your phone. They're like, what do you need my phone for? I'm like, go to your screen time. I want to see where you're spending time on your phone. Like, what kind of apps are you spending your time on? And their social media will be like 5 hours a day. They spend 2 hours on TikTok, 2 hours on Twitter, 2 hours on Instagram. So please don't tell me you don't have time. You clearly have time for those things. Why don't you have time for your Amazon business? So this is the importance of focus.
Yeah, Tom, and I would just add on that. I think the other thing that you got to think about too is there's consumption and education and there's action. And you need both to actually have production in what you're trying to do with your business. So watching these videos, learning about the Amazon business is one thing, but you've got to actually execute and implement. And that's part of focus as well. So make sure you combine the two. All right, so the fourth one is that this is not going to be a pretty process all the time. You've got to fall in love with the messiness. Things are going to happen. It's not always going to be rosy. It's not all going to be unicorns. That is okay. That actually shows you that you're on the right path. One of the things I really like is you can't have the light without the darkness. So you're going to have things that are going to come up in your personal life, in your business. It's not all going to be, I come up with a great product, I'm going to launch it, it's perfect, and everything's going to be hunky-dory, and I'm going to sell my business in 2 years. That could be the lineage in the path, but in between that, there's going to be a lot of things that happen to you. So remember, when negative things happen to you, when setbacks happen to you, when you feel bummed out, when you're having challenges in your business, that is a sign that you're on the road to success. So when negative things happen, setbacks happen, use that as energy that you're on the right path and fall in love with that messiness.
Yeah, I love that. Like what you said about not having, you have to have light and darkness, right? You can't have one or the other. And another example of that is like, you know, if you want sun all the time, then that's a desert,
Yes.
right? Like, do you want to live in a desert? I mean, a lot of people do, but like, I'm talking about like the Sahara Desert. It's unlivable, right? But you want the sun all the time. No, we need the rain. We need the thunderstorms. We need cloudy days. We need that, all that type of stuff. Except Vancouver, there's too much. But having said that, yeah, you're absolutely right, right? And same as people, like this is a little bit off tangent, but like if you're gonna be blaming people, you also gotta praise them for the good, right? If you're gonna blame someone for the bad, you also gotta praise them for the good. So it's always there's give and take, but I absolutely think that what you said is it's really really good. All right, number 5 is the curiosity mindset. This is so important. If you are curious about this Amazon business, you will go a lot further than someone who's just trying to make money. And what I mean by that is there's a great saying that says, a man who enjoys walking will walk further from the man who's trying to get to a destination. If you truly enjoy the process, every single day you're winning. But for those that don't enjoy the process, they can't wait to reach the finish lines. And sometimes in order to reach the finish lines, there's a lot of up and downs. So sometimes people just give up. They're like, this is not worth it anymore. But if every day is a challenge and it's a piece of puzzle that you're trying to figure out every single day, then every single day is going to provide you with that uniqueness, that sense of adventure, that curiosity of like, hey, can I actually figure this out? What is this Amazon thing? What is this all about? If Tom can do it, why can't I? If Adam can do it, why can't I? So I think developing that curiosity mindset is super important. It's not something I'm really trying to develop a method to actually teach you guys this, but I haven't come up with that yet. So, but I just think it's so important. All the things I've done up to this point, the ones that I'm really, really good at, it's always been about enjoying the process rather than like, oh, I really want to get good at golf so I can shoot like, in the 70s. It's never been about that. Every single time I'm out there, I'm like, I'm having so much fun. And then as a result of that, I'm out there more often. I'm doing more work because I enjoy it. And as a result of that, I'm getting progress and process is actually faster than anybody else. So curiosity mindset, super, super important.
All right, so framework number 6 is it's on me. It's very easy when things come up to blame externalities. Hey, my inspection failed, I'm gonna blame the factory. Hey, my pay-per-click spend is more expensive than I thought, I'm gonna blame Amazon because their costs are going up. I gotta tell you, there's such a liberation in taking ownership for the things that happen, good and bad, in your business as they inevitably come up. So I would just challenge us to, even though there might be externalities that might contribute to things that happen in your business and your Amazon journey, you need to own it. You made the decision to choose a factory. You made a decision to choose to sell on Amazon. And you need to own the good and bad things that happen. So take an ownership mindset. There's a lot of freedom and liberation that comes with that.
Number 7 is never, ever give up. So, I mean, this is just so important because on this journey, you are going to feel like you want to give up. Same as someone who's on a weight loss journey, same as someone who is just trying to be a better person, because it's not easy, right? You're trying to shape yourself into this new person that you aren't. Right? You're trying to grow as a person. So you're not used to all these new challenges, right? And these new challenges are going to make you a better person. So along that journey, it's very easy to just say, you know what? Screw this. Like, I want to try something else. And I can relate to this because if it wasn't for Christina, my fiance, I wouldn't be where I am today because we tried the first product, we tried the second product, and I wanted to give up. It would have been so easy. And I was seeking permission from Christina for me to give up. But she said, no, let's take, what we learned from product 1, let's take what we learned from product 2, and let's, learn from our mistakes. And Tom, if the third product doesn't work, then we can give up. So I really think that, that is so important. Recently, there's a brand that's been popping off. It's called Mini Katana. And they sell like these like swords online, basically. And this guy failed his businesses 8 times before he found success with this one. So I just think it's so important. You will face that day. And when you face that day, remember this video because it's just inevitable. It's like breathing air. It's like drinking water. Every single entrepreneur will face that day when it's so challenging that you want to give up. But it's on that day that you have to tell yourself, this is part of the journey and I will get through this. Lean on your friends, lean on your family, lean on your business partners, whatever you have to lean on us, lean on the community, right? But you can't give up, because the day you give up is the day you fail. And that is the only failure, is when you give up.
Yeah, and similar to Tom, again, I would not be sitting here. My life would be completely different if I didn't heed that advice. My first Amazon product, again, wasn't a great success. And I had that moment where I'm like, okay, do I just stop it here? I gave it a go and I'll keep going with my corporate job and kind of live the life as I had been, which wasn't that bad. But I said, you know what? I got to give this another go, found another product. And that product was what ultimately became the hero product for the brand that I sold, and that made everything in my life possible the last couple of years. So I don't know an entrepreneur. I don't know anybody that's built a business, that's done anything significant in their life for change, that hasn't faced that really dark day where you just feel like you don't have anything left. But that's the moment where you need to take a breath. You need to think about why you did this, find your why, and press forward. And on the other side of that decision is going to be this new life that you don't know exists yet. So number 8 actually comes from Elon Musk, and it's experimental failure is good, operational failure is bad. And what that basically means is you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be things that you do that you wish you would have done differently. But if you're doing that to press the ball forward, if you're doing that to experiment, to try, it's okay. Not everything's going to work out. However, if you're doing things and you take a lesson and you don't implement that in your business over time and you keep repeating those mistakes, that's not acceptable. So it's okay to fail. It's okay to not be perfect, but learn from those mistakes. Make sure that you take those lessons, good and bad, and re-implement them into the process so that 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, all of those cumulative good and bad lessons will make your business a lot stronger. So the 9th is hard work is actually overrated and consistency is underrated. Again, going back to some of the other videos, busy work and just kind of doing things doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing what you should in your business. I actually don't respect people that work 16-hour days, because I know in those 16-hour days, they're probably doing a lot of things that they don't need to do and that are completely unnecessary. Also, I don't respect people that put in a hard weekend for 3 days and then they don't do anything for 6 weeks and then they do it again. This is a business that is an endurance test. You've got to do a lot of those little things that matter consistently over time, and on a long enough timeline, those things get paid dividends. So don't feel like you have to burn yourself out and stress yourself out. That's not a formula for success. The formula for success is doing those little things today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. And when you add all those things up consistently over time, doing the right things, that's where the dividends come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen this like chart online, right? It's like what people think consistency looks like. And it's like people think it's just someone giving 100% day in, day out. So the circle is like full. But what consistency actually look like, it's like on day 1, it could be full. On day 2, it could be like 10%. On day 3, it could be like 50%. On day 4, it could be like 70%. On day 5, it could be back down to 5%. But every single day, they're doing something, like even that one little thing to carry them closer to the end goal. So being consistent is also super important. And again, what Adam said is this is absolutely a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is a lifelong journey. So make sure you kind of pace yourself and don't go all in like day 1 and then burn yourself out on day 2. So the last one is time management and social media. So, recently I came across this chart online that's basically outlines like 2001 to 2023. And it gives a stat of like how many people have done self-harm, how many people try to commit suicide, how many people, drinking, drug overdose. And it's basically since 2010, it's been going up every single year. Before that, it was actually quite steady. And what's crazy is that in 2010, that's when Instagram was launched. Now, I'm not blaming all this on Instagram, but I think social media is like a fork. You can use it to eat or you can use it to kill someone, right? You can stab someone with a fork. So it all depends on how you use social media. However, the problem is that we have all these super smart Silicon Valley data scientists, psychologists trying their very best to create an algorithm to hook ourselves to use these apps as many hours in a day as possible, because that's their business. Their business is to get you me, Adam, to spend as much time as possible on these apps. That's every single day. That's what they have in mind. So imagine you are now going up against teams of these psychologists and just power players. It's not a fair battle. So protect your mind at all costs. One thing that I recommend for you to do, and something I've done, is I put a time limit on each of the apps. If you want to take even the further step, is you can put a password in order to actually get over the time limit. So let's say you put 30 minutes a day, and then when you use 30 minutes a day, you can continue use, or you can, click skip. But if you click continue to use, there's the password, and get your like friend or significant other to put a password on so that you don't even know what it is. So I turn off all my notification on my phone. So my WhatsApp, my Instagram, my email, I have no notifications except for phone and text message. But this phone, again, it's great. If it wasn't for this phone, maybe you and I would have never met. Maybe Adam and I would have never met. However, there's a very, very dangerous side to social media. Earlier, I gave you an example of someone says, I don't have time. And I go on their phone. They spend 5 hours a day on Instagram. What is that? That's terrible. They're lying to themselves. So make sure you protect your mind at all costs. In fact, what I want you to do right now is go on your phone, like literally remove all your notifications. You can go still check it. People can still message you, but there's no notifications. And I want you to put a time restraint on your apps if you feel like that's needed. So there's a great saying that I truly believe in, and it says, a goal that is not written down is simply a wish. A lot of people, when I ask them, why did you join FBA Masterclass? Why are you doing this Amazon journey? They say, oh, I want to be rich. Everybody wants to be rich. If you interviewed 1 million people, 999,000, like whatever, will say they want to be rich. But what does that mean? What is rich? How do you define rich? So in this video, I want to talk about an exercise that has greatly improved my level of certainty, that has given me tons of clarity with regards to where I want to take my business and ultimately how I want to shape every single aspects of my life. And it's a very simple goal setting exercise. So in this example, I'm actually going to use the analogy of going to a gym. If you want to go to a gym, right, you don't say, I want to go there to lose weight. Although that's cool, right? That's cool. But how much weight do you want to actually lose? So let's say at the very beginning of each year, January 1st comes around, the gyms gets really busy. Why? Because people want to get fit, people want to get healthy, people want to lose weight. So instead of saying, I want to lose weight, say instead, I want to lose 10 pounds, okay? Now you're more defined. Now, how long do you want to give yourself in order to lose that 10 pounds? Is it 1 day? Is it a year? Is it 10 years? Because the action that you're going to be taking to lose that 10 pounds in that time frame is going to be very different. UFC fighters, they lose 10 pounds overnight. How do they do that? They go in the sauna, they sweat it out, they don't drink water, so on and so forth. But we're not UFC fighters. We want to lose 10 pounds in a year. Okay, that's pretty reasonable, right? So I always say, number one, have a number amount as well as a time frame. So in this business, if it's an Amazon business, I want to generate $1 million in sales in 1 year. That is a much better goal than saying, I want to get rich. So that's number one. You need to have a goal with a time. So what is your goal? What is the time frame that you want to achieve your goal in? Okay, so that's number one. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, but whatever it is, have a number in your head and write it down. Don't just put it in your head. Write it down. Tell people about it. The other day, super interesting, a student of mine, I was doing this exercise with them, and they said, I have a goal. I said, okay, what is it? I can't tell you. I'm like, you can't tell me. Are you ashamed of it? Like, what are you, like, what's going on with it? It's a secret. I truly believe if you can't verbalize your goal, if you can't tell people about it, if you can't be proud of it, if you can't show it off, if you can't just say it into the world, you don't deserve to actually get that goal, right? So write it down and tell people about it. When I want to make $100,000, I told everybody about it. They didn't believe me. I didn't even believe it. I didn't even know how I was going to do it, but it happened. So make sure you write it down and tell people about it. Now, number two, it's how you're going to get to the goal. So in life, there's things that we can control, which are the inputs, and there's the things that we cannot control, which are the outputs. So what I mean by that is very, very simple, right? If you just go to the gym 5 days a week, if you eat healthy, if you sleep 8 hours a day, if you do cardio 3 times a week, do you think you are going to be in a better shape than you are today? Yes or no? Absolutely. These are all the inputs that you can control. You can control when you go to the gym. You can control how long you stay at the gym. You can control what kind of exercises you do. You can control when you go to bed and what time you wake up. You can control what type of food you eat. These are the inputs. Now, if you just focus on the inputs and the output is naturally going to be a better body, a better mind, whatever it might be. But even if, but there is no what if, because it's always going to happen, right? But even if the end result is not what you wanted, too bad, so sad, basically, because you can't control the outcome. So, I used to play poker, and one of the best learning experience that I have from poker is that you can have the best starting hand in poker, which is pocket aces, 2 aces. Now, 82% of the time, you are going to win against pocket kings, meaning someone else has a second best hand, king, because there's 2 more kings in the deck. You guys go all in pre-flop. 82% of the time, the pocket ace is going to win. 18% of the time, the pocket kings are going to win. But if you lost that time, so if you lost 18%, right, that one time you lost, did you play that hand bad? No, you didn't. You played how you were supposed to play. You're supposed to put all your chips into the middle with pocket aces. Same as many different aspects of our life. So if you can just focus on the things that you can control and ignore all the things that you cannot control, that's the best you can do, and that's the best advice I can tell you. So in this Amazon context, so similar example earlier, I was telling you about going to the gym, eating well. In the Amazon business, I'd love to maybe riff with you about this. So for me, it's like, all right, well, every single day, I'm going to set up certain times that I'm going to work on my Amazon business so I can control that. When I'm driving, I'm going to learn more about Amazon through podcasts, through books, just increase my knowledge. I'm going to do the homework that Tom and Adam have told us to do in this course, so all the actionable steps. And ultimately, those are only the things I can control. Like if, World War III happens tomorrow, or if something happens like COVID-20 happens, you can't control that. Yeah. So therefore, you shouldn't even care about that. So would you agree with kind of?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of this is getting comfortable with the unknown. There's a lot of unknowns on how you're going to get to your goal. But I think it starts with defining what it is that you actually want to do. And you talked about the ways to do that. I think you've got to tap into the why you want to do it. That's going to help you really get through those moments that are going to be challenging. And I think it's like we all have a voice in our head, right? And that voice you got to realize may not be you. You're going to be like, I just want to watch Netflix tonight, or I'll do that on the weekend, or I had a long day at work and I'll just do it next week. It's in those moments where you override that voice in your head and go back to the goal that you wrote down, go back to the time frame you wrote down, and go back to your why. That's going to help you. One thing that I do, I'll just pull up my phone here real quick, is I don't know if you can see this, but I've got like little sayings that I have on my phone. So this one is just like a personal growth thing that I'm working on. It's got some symbols, like put it on your phone. Like if you wanted to hit $1 million by, 18 months from now in terms of revenue, and you know that you need to do reverse engineer that, what you need to do, have that on your phone. So every time you open your phone, which is probably 50, 60 times a day, you've got a reminder of it. So I think that's everything you talked about, I 100% agree with. And it's those little things that accumulate that really matter.
Yeah, and Adam is going to give you kind of in the future video, he's going to go through a reverse engineering Amazon growth exercise that's going to kind of break down like what is a realistic expectation, because you got to set a SMART goal, right? SMART is like one of them is a realistic expectation. You can't say, I'm going to do $10 million in the next 12 months. Like it's just not realistic. So what is realistic? Well, Adam's going to kind of guide you through that process. And the last thing I want to say is now you have your goal, you have your input to get there. I would recommend kind of breaking everything down into 90 days. So what that means is you have a 3-month goal, right? So there's quarter 1, which is January to March, quarter 2, which is April until like June, right? Or July. But anyways, every 3 months is 1 quarter. So there's 4 quarters in a year. So I'll take that and kind of break that down into further goals. And I really just believe that if you don't write something down, it's just a wish. It's going to go away. You're going to forget about it. But if you do write it down and sign the dotted lines, that's a contract now you have with yourself. And it's so much easier to say, okay, sometimes you're lazy, sometimes you're lost. You're like, hey, I forgot what I was supposed to do. But if you have that piece of paper in front of you, it's like, oh, I know I'm supposed to do this today, so I'm going to do it today. And the last thing I want to share with you is something called anti-goal. So what an anti-goal is, yes, I want to achieve $1 million in revenue over the next 12 months, but what am I not willing to give up in order to achieve that? So for example, I am not willing to work 18 hours a day so I don't get to spend time with my family, friends, and my kids. So yes, you can achieve the $1 million over the next 12 months, but you also don't want to, do all that, all those things I just said, right? So what are some of the anti-goals that you have? So that's super important as well.